Hey everybody, Will in post production. Whenever we were filming this, we had a little bit of an internet issue, so I did want to put this clip in real quick to just say that we did cut out and miss the Chargers versus football team pick'em. But just to let you know that Matt and myself took the Los Angeles Chargers, and the RJ and Jamil took the Washington football team.
Welcome back to Jams for Hire. I am Matthew Perry. We are reunited, and it feels so good. The four of us are back for the first time in what feels like forever. Schedules aligned right in time for the NFL season. So we're here to bring you our week one pick'ems. Of course, Will won last season's pick'em. I don't got the record off the top of my head, but just so you guys know, he was the one that had the best record. So what better way than for Will to kick things off with an island? Actually, we're going to head to a game on Sunday between the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers, the Sam Darnold revenge game right off the bat, as well as Zach Wilson's debut. Pretty fun game, possibly. Myself, Jamil, and RJ all went with the Carolina Panthers, while Will is on his island with the New York Jets. Will, explain, please.
Hey, you got to start off the season hot. Last year I started off the season in last place, and that's looking like what we might start off here this year. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, but I'm hoping to get off to a great start. We talked about it in the Jamil and I, we did the AFC East. And I really love the Jets offseason. Now I know that for a lot of the additions that they get, it's going to be their first game in the NFL. I know Elijah Vera Tucker, Zach Wilson, Michael Carter. A lot of these guys are going to be starting off for the first time. But I want to see how everything gels. They're not exactly facing too tough of a team in the Carolina Panthers. The defense isn't exactly top notch, and then we haven't seen exactly how Sam Darnold's going to do in their system yet. It's a new situation for him too. So both teams are dealing with a new offensive system. It's just going to be who exactly is going to stand out. And poor Sam Darnold is just getting the bad treatment in my eyes, just because I've already seen him play, and I know how he played in the Jet system, and I'm literally just going off of that. The Jets are an organization where what can go wrong will go wrong. But I'm taking a stab at it. This is one of those games to where I looked at, and it wasn't necessarily a coin flip, but it wouldn't shock me if the Jets walked away with this one. We got to get pick'ems going hot. Somebody's got to go different and against the grain. So I'm going with the Jets.
RJ, since you're the resident Carolina Panthers fan, I'll let you handle this one for us.
Well, first off, let me say it feels good to be pulling for the Carolina Panthers again and not hoping for a 0-16 tank season. Not saying I'm all in on Sam Darnold, because as we've seen him in New York, he wasn't too swift. But that being said, he didn't have anything to work with in New York. His coaching staff was a circus. His offensive line was 5 traffic cones, and his receivers looked like they should have been playing high school football for Bishop Sycamore. The Carolina Panthers have so much on offense to offer Sam Darnold. Again, you mentioned you and Jamil talking about the AFC East. When me and him talked about the NFC South, I mentioned if Sam Darnold still sucks with the Carolina Panthers, then he just sucks. Because you have the best running back in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey, and you're 3 deep at wide receiver with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Terrace Marshall, a rookie that I think is going to surprise a lot of people. The defense is very young. It's coming. And the offensive line isn't the best, but it's better than what he had in New York. If he still sucks, if Carolina only wins like 5 games this year, it's Sam Darnold's fault. And I don't need any excuses from Colin Cowherd or any other West Coast guy that just loves USC quarterbacks. If he sucks in Carolina with this cast around him and Joe Brady as his offensive coordinator, he sucks. That being said, let's keep it to this week. New York Jets, they are an absolute dumpster fire. They're starting a rookie quarterback. Sam Darnold's got to get revenge on the team that basically screwed the beginning of his career. New York gave him absolutely nothing to work with, coaching, players around him, nothing, literally nothing. They left this man out to dry for a guy that had, a ton of hype. So I would imagine that Sam Darnold's going to be pretty fired up and want some revenge on this team and, let them know that, hey, yeah, y'all gave up on me, but I'm in a better spot now. I've got guys that can actually ball, and I'm going to prove it to y'all on Sunday. I think the Panthers win.
As long as he's got his Ghostbuster glasses on, he'll be ready to go.
It'll definitely be an interesting quarterback battle, and I do think that would be the forefront of the conversation come Sunday. Uh, you know, Carolina could be a long season for you guys, but things are looking up, and then the Jets, we pretty much know it's going to be a long season for them. So we'll see how Zach Wilson fares against the Panthers, but we'll move to another island that I put myself on, actually, and that is in support of the Indianapolis Colts, as these three gentlemen picked the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I can explain, of course. I wanted to differentiate myself, kind of like Will did, picking the Jets. And I don't think it's a bad game to do it. You know, the Seattle Seahawks have kind of a pretty bad defense. Honestly, it's pretty depleted compared to what we've seen in past years. Obviously, their offense is still pretty dynamite, led by, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf. And I think they can gel, but the Colts have a pretty good defense themselves. So, Carson Wentz will be playing week 1, at least right now at the time of recording, unless something else happens. The Colts have a pretty decent running back core, Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack. I like what they have going on. It's a matter of putting it together. Wentz being healthy is a big deal. And I do think it's a step up from Phillip Rivers last year and Brissett before that, but will it click? I mean, Wentz was always here and there in Philly, but that was because of injury. So will the same thing happen here? Who knows? I just personally don't think this is a very bad pick, just because the Seahawks defense is pretty bad, personally. But what do you guys think about the Seahawks?
Jamil?
I mean, I don't really disagree with that. That's a bad pick. I think there's a handful of games this week that can go either way. I think this is one of them. I'm pretty sure the Colts are at home this week too, so that's always a plus to start week 1 at home. But when it comes to week 1, anything can happen. We don't really know anything about these teams going into this season. But the reason I chose to go with the Seahawks was I think they're going to ride Russell Wilson, and this is going to be one of those Russell Wilson games where he just gets the job done. I think this game's probably going to be pretty ugly, probably pretty low scoring, honestly. But I think, me and you did the NFC West, and I said me and you both agreed that the Seahawks, we think they're going to take a step back. But I think this is going to be one of the few games they win. I think it's going to be a little bit of Russell Wilson magic to get the job done for them this week.
I would like to bring up the first Maddie stat of the 2021 NFL season. Really? Since 2012, the Seattle Seahawks have the best record on the Eastern time zone, which is really weird because they play in the West.
Is Indianapolis Eastern or Central?
They are Eastern.
They're Eastern time zone, but they're just in the Central United States.
Oh. They're right there. They're like the first state that goes into Eastern. But in fact, they since 2012 they have the best winning percentage of any team in the Eastern time zone, which is really weird. A lot of the times West Coast teams don't really perform well whenever, or even East Coast teams going to the West. Typically, whenever you go across the nation, you have not necessarily jet lag, but your rhythm gets a little bit thrown off because there's a 3-hour difference in between. So it's a weird scenario that Seattle tends to thrive in, and so this was another game. I agree with Jamil completely. I don't think that that's a bad pick by any means. The Colts have a great defense, like you said, Matt, and I think they're a great offensive team as well, compared to a poor Seattle defense. I truly just went with it just because Seattle is a very good team on the road, especially in the East, and Seattle. I know that their offense is a little bit more concrete, and so a little bit more established, and so Lockett, DK, everybody involved, Russell Wilson, of course. Will he get an MVP vote this season? Who knows? This is another game that was kind of split down the middle for me. I had a little bit of trouble picking it myself.
Yeah. RJ, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. This was this is definitely a game that I think can go either way. At the end of the day, though, who do you trust more right now? Do you trust Russell Wilson, who's been with Pete Carroll for years now? They're established. They won a Super Bowl, all this. Or do you trust Carson Wentz, who hasn't been at practice? He's had injuries, and he's back with a coach that he hasn't worked with in like 2 or 3 years. Ultimately, I'm going with Seattle. I think Indianapolis, if they get it together and they click, I think the Colts are going to be really good, and they're going to challenge the Titans in that division. But week 1, Seattle's a safer pick, I think.
Yeah, the trust factor, I think that was a really good point, just because you're getting used to new things. So, yeah, it'll be interesting what happens week 1. I still don't hate the Colts pick, but we'll move to our last island, and it's a matchup I feel like we see all the time, sometimes in the playoffs, sometimes in the regular season. It's always a good game. It's the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints. Jamil, you're on the island for this one. You're the only one in favor of the New Orleans Saints. while the rest of us are with the Pack. Give me your thoughts on the Saints, Jamil.
One reason I went with the Saints was because they're dealing with the human element right now. You know, they got their game washed away from New Orleans. They have to move over to Jacksonville. I think they're going to use some of that, and they're going to put their best foot forward, and they're going to go up and they're going to show up for this game. But on the football side of things, I think we're overlooking the fact that Jameis Winston can really make this offense move. I think we saw them last season struggle to push the ball downfield. I think together with Jameis Winston pushing the ball downfield with Taysom Hill coming in to do the things he usually does, I think this team can come in and shock the Packers, a team that, you know, they're still a great team coming off of that NFC Championship appearance, but, you know, I still think they're capable of getting beat. And I just think this game is going to be one of those surprise games where the Saints win. And we're like, all right, let's not sleep on the Saints. You know, we still got to respect this football team. I think it's going to be a good, close game. But to me, I think the Saints can narrowly edge it out.
Well,
I just don't like how different the Saints are looking this year as opposed to last year on the offensive side of things. Obviously, Slant Boy is injured and will not be playing week 1. Obviously, Drew Brees is retired. You're starting with a brand new quarterback, and you have a wide receiver core that's currently led by an undrafted guy out of Tennessee or Texas or Marquez Callaway, an undrafted guy who absolutely had a standout preseason, looked great, phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, and definitely boosted his way up draft boards in fantasy football and a lot of draft boards. You know, somebody completely undrafted getting seen taken in like the 6th or 7th round in some situations. It's just a brand new offense, and I didn't like it kind of came down to the trust factor last game. Do I trust Aaron Rodgers, who's been doing it forever, who's been doing the thing, and Devontae Adams, of course, always one of the best wide receivers in the league, or do I trust Jameis Winston, who hasn't really necessarily started consistently in a couple 2 seasons now, in a brand new offense, along with his best wide receiver being out. Obviously Alvin Kamara is going to get his workload. He's going to get his bag, and his stats are going to be nice and pretty. But, the Packers have a pretty underrated defense, one of the best corners in the league in Jair. And he's going to be giving Callaway or whoever goes up against him fits. I think this Packers team is a way more well-rounded element than a lot of people think. And that's coming from a Bears fan. I really hate saying that. But yeah, they're a solid team. And I think the Packers, just from a consistency standpoint, will have a better chance of winning this game.
RJ?
Yeah, I agree. This was a tough game for me to pick also. I do like the fact that the Saints they have a quarterback that can actually throw the ball 15 yards now. Instead of Drew Brees.
Game changer.
So I do think that the Saints, in some ways, upgraded at quarterback. And I think this team can be a little more dangerous on offense now. But, I mean, you mentioned his best wide receiver, Slant Boy. Even if he does only run 5-yard slants the whole game, he is out. He's not going to play. And Jameis has got to look across the sidelines and see Aaron Rodgers over there. It's going to be tough. Obviously, if this game was in the Dome in New Orleans, I think that's a bigger edge for the Saints, and I'd probably pick them, honestly. But with this game moving to Jacksonville, I think you're going to have a more neutral crowd, and I just think the Packers are a better team. I don't love the Packers roster. I really don't, and I've said it. I don't think their offense is that good outside of Devontae Adams. I think Rodgers needs more weapons. You mentioned Jair Alexander on defense, total stud. He's probably going to pick Jameis off, but who knows? This isn't blind Jameis that we had in Tampa. Jameis can see now. We might get a whole new Jameis this year. So we might be way off on the Saints. The Saints might be disgusting this year. But week 1, I'm going to go with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers.
I hope they make me eat my words. I hope they do.
This was a game for me that I mean, it's going to be close for sure. I think it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, bringing in a new quarterback for New Orleans, then having kind of inexperienced wide receivers. I think their most experienced wide receiver is Chris Hogan or something, who's fine, but he's nothing special. But Green Bay, of course I picked Green Bay because, like you guys said, the trust factor, and it's Aaron Rodgers against a decent defense, but like it's nothing he hasn't gotten past before. But then you got to look at the Saints, and like you said, RJ, Jameis can throw quite farther than Brees. You're right. And the secondary for Green Bay, correct me if I'm wrong, besides Jair Alexander, it's nothing special. I remember last season, at least in the playoffs, Kevin King became like the most hated Packer because of
traffic cone.
Yeah. Yeah. So
they drafted a corner in the first round.
Yeah, they took Stokes.
Yeah. So I mean, if Stokes pans out, then that's definitely an improvement to their secondary. But right now, I mean, it's not anything special. So I could see Winston kind of throwing to whatever side of the field Alexander isn't on. But no, I'm still going to go with Green Bay and trust them, leaving Jamil on the island. We'll hit our splits if everyone's cool with moving
Getting
along.
W's.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. He might still be hungry. Throughout. We'll move to our next split, a battle of the birds, the Philadelphia Eagles and Atlanta Falcons. RJ and I taking the Atlanta Falcons, while Will and Jamil are on the side of Philly. Will, let's lead us off.
God, this is going to be a shit show game, ain't it? This is another collection of just who's going to be the shiniest of two shits, and I just managed to take Philly. I don't trust Jalen. I don't trust the defense of Atlanta. Never have, never will. Somebody's going to have to make something happen. I'm literally going with Philly because of a flip of a coin, really.
Jamil?
Well, was that coin heads or tails?
It just landed on Eagles, man. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Tails. So tails.
Don't remember.
Fly. But yeah, I want the Eagles a lot of the same reason as well. You know, I need to see this Atlanta defense play for a full game. I think at the end of the day that I don't trust Jalen Hurts the most either, but I think his athletic ability is enough for them to squeak by up a week 1 win.
RJ, thoughts on the Falcons?
Well, you mentioned neither one of these teams are any good. I don't think either one of these teams are going to be playing in January. I don't think we have to worry about that. This could be an ugly game, but honestly, I think it could be a high-scoring game, actually. I don't trust Jalen Hurts and his arm and all that, but he did look decent last year. He looked a lot better than I thought he would look in the NFL. And we said Atlanta's defense didn't hit no much anyway. So if Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith can get cooking, if Jalen Reagor can show up, you know, Philly can score some points on this Atlanta defense, and Atlanta's going to score. I mean, the Falcons aren't good, but it's not because of the offense, because Matt Ryan has put up stupid numbers every season that he's been in the NFL, and the defense is always the problem and reason why they lose games. Now that Calvin Ridley's taken over as wide receiver 1, Kyle Pitts is a freak. He's going to come in. I expect him to ball, honestly, starting week 1. I think this game could end up being high scoring. And who do you trust to win the game with 2 minutes left, Matt Ryan or Jalen Hurts? I'm going with Matty Ice.
I agree with just about everything you said. I basically picked this. I picked the Falcons just because I prefer their offense. I'm really excited to see what Kyle Pitts can do. Obviously, he was unbelievable at UF. So I'm really excited to see what he can do on this stage. And of course, Calvin Ridley is, he had his breakout year last year. I'd say he's definitely coming into his own with every game. So, and still Matt Ryan, he's still solid. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the offense does. I do agree that it could be very high scoring. We'll move to what I think will be game of the week. And that's a game we split on, of course. The Cleveland Browns and Kansas City Chiefs. Same split. Myself and RJ in favor of the Cleveland Browns, while Will and Jamil are in favor of Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Jamil, I'll start with you.
I'm high on the Chiefs, or the Browns. Me and RJ did them. You know, we're both high on them. But if you think I'm going to bet against the Chiefs, especially when the Browns have never won on week 1 in their whole entire existence, right, you're wrong. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. But at the end of the day, obviously, I got to bet with the horses of Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with those guys. RJ, thoughts on the Browns?
The last time we saw Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on a football field in a real game, not preseason, Mahomes was running for his life against the Bucs and that front 7. Go look at Cleveland's front 7. Cleveland is going to give Patrick Mahomes an absolute fit. Yes, it's probably dumb of me to go against Patrick Mahomes playing in Arrowhead. Got the home crowd. It's the Chiefs. No one beats Patrick Mahomes. Oh, you know, the Cleveland Browns have probably the best roster in the NFL. It might be better than Tampa's. I mean, it is right there with Tampa for the best roster in the entire NFL. Kansas City's defense is going to give up points. They're going to give up yards. Baker Mayfield, this is the year where they figure out, is he getting a $100 million contract from us, or do we got to figure something else out? I expect Baker to have a big year because he knows there's a big paycheck waiting at the end of the year. He's getting Odell back. They have the best running back duo in the league in Chubb and Hunt. Listen, this Cleveland Browns team, this is not the Cleveland Browns from 3 years ago. This is a monster. And they came close to beating the Chiefs in the playoffs last year. I know Mahomes got hurt in that game, but still, if Chad Henne doesn't make a miraculous play, we might be talking about the Browns playing in the Super Bowl last year, because I honestly think they would have beat Buffalo. So they're gonna get their revenge. We get the week 1, they get to play the Chiefs, the team that knocked them out in the playoffs. I think Baker's going to be fired up. This roster's loaded. And the Chiefs, until I see that offensive line protect Mahomes better than they did in the Super Bowl, I'm not going with the Chiefs.
Well,
I don't hate it. I mean, RJ definitely gave a good used cars pitch for the Cleveland Browns. I love the Cleveland Browns. They're my favorite to win that division this year. I think this is going to be a big one, and it being a contract year for Baker is definitely going to be you're going to find out a lot about him. You're definitely going to find out a lot about Baker and the rest of this team this year. But again, I'm kind of with Jamil. If you think I'm going to bet up against Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, you're wrong. I'm not going to do that until shown otherwise. Now, if Cleveland comes out and they ball and Kansas City looks like a joke, then I might consider it, at least against certain teams. But as of right now, it's still Patrick Mahomes. It's still Tyreek Hill. It's still Travis Kelce. The offense in Cleveland can definitely put up some points. And as long as you can buy just enough time for Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna find a way to score points as well. So it definitely has game of the week potential on it for sure. And it should be a high scoring affair and should be very entertaining for everybody.
yeah, I think this game could go either way. It's not going to shock me if the Chiefs win, of course, but after a poor showing in the playoffs and especially the Super Bowl for the Chiefs offensive line, they kind of moved some pieces around. I know you guys would probably be better telling me if it got any better or worse. I don't know. When I looked at it, it kind of looked like they stayed in, kind of parallel, but it's the effort that counts, I guess. But, I'll say this. I mean, Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on the same defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's hard to find a duo that potentially deadly. I mean, those are two big dudes, and we've seen the impact they can make on a football field. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them play, and especially together, obviously. And Pat Mahomes could be in trouble if this line does what it did last year. But I do have to ride with Cleveland for this one, just because it could go either way. I like separating myself from the Chiefs, because if you go with the Chiefs, that's like the easy choice. They're always there lately. So I went Cleveland for that. Moving to our final split, it's actually the same groups for this one. Once again, RJ and I are in favor of the New York Football Giants, while Will and Jamil are on the side of the Denver Broncos. Jamil said, ew. We'll start with him just because I want to hear what he means by that.
It's just, do we really trust the Giants already again? Like, cool, they had a decent offseason, but are we really going to pick them to win football games? Danny Dimes? My problem with the Giants is, number one, is Saquon really ready to play? Number two, your offensive line is still putrid. And number three, this Denver Broncos defense has some horses on it, and they're coming after Danny Dimes.
They got some
this offensive line's horrible. Von Miller's coming for his neck. The corners are like 12 deep, so they're not getting thrown on. Their linebackers, a little suspect, but I just think there's going to be too much of a high-powered defense for Denver, and Teddy Bridgewater is going to do just enough on offense for this team to win over the Giants.
RJ?
Who's playing quarterback for the Denver Broncos?
Teddy B.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know him well. He actually
Kendrick Bridgewater.
Oh no, trust me, I do. Trust me, I know.
Okay.
I saw it. I saw why the Carolina Panthers had the 8th pick in the draft last year. You think I'm picking Teddy Bridgewater to win a football game? Are you kidding me?
2,000-yard receivers, though?
Get out of here with that. The Giants are going to smother him. I would not be surprised. Drew Lock will be playing quarterback by week 5. Teddy Bridgewater is trash. Teddy Bridgewater is trash. I saw it last year. We talked about how Drew Brees can't throw a football. Go look at every pass Teddy Bridgewater threw to receivers last year. When DJ Moore would have like a 60-yard touchdown, it was like a 5-yard throw, and then DJ Moore does the rest. So unless Jerry Jeudy turned into Randy Moss this offseason, the Broncos are going to have trouble scoring. I will say my boy Javonte Williams from North Carolina, I do think he's going to be a stud running back for Denver, and he's going to have to be because because that team, that offense is going to be very one-dimensional. Teddy Bridgewater sucks, and you might have Rookie of the Year running back Javonte Williams. Look, the Giants, they've got weapons for Danny Dimes. This is a big year for him. Got to figure out if he's any good or not. But I already know Teddy Bridgewater's not good, so I'm going with the Giants.
Freezing cold take. Cam Newton actually playing quarterback for the Denver Broncos by week 5.
Yo, I mean, that wouldn't shock me.
No chance.
Maybe for the Giants by week 5.
No.
Might be playing for the Cowboys by week 5.
Maybe the Texans. Who knows?
We'll move to a more rapid fire section of the pick'ems, and that is the ones we are all in agreement on. We'll start with the kickoff game, the Dallas Cowboys and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jamil, you're the actual Bucs fan here. Let's get your thoughts.
Is that a shot at RJ?
No, it's more of a shot at me than RJ.
Oh, he's the one with the flags in the back. Anyways, I think it's going to be a real straightforward game. I think it's going to be close to the beginning, and then in the end, the Bucs are going to pull away. I think they're going to have way too much offensive firepower for the lackluster secondary that the Cowboys have. At the end of the day, it's going to be a little bit too much, and the Bucs are going to take it home.
Great point. Will, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. You've been working on that one for a while.
No one does it, baby. No one circles them. Come on.
No one circles the wagon.
We've been waiting for the Buffalo Bills for the season to come back. You had to do it. And have I been working on this for a long time? This was written, ready to go before we
not
recorded.
The best wagon, but
no, it's not.
I've seen better wagons in my.
I've seen better good circle.
Yeah, it's
bad wagon.
Bad wagon.
RJ knows
circle, bad wagon, and that might mean the Steelers win now. And now you just let the Steelers win.
Now we know why Matt watches WWE for the wagons.
Yeah, look at that wagon.
Hey.
That's a great wagon. Yeah, but and I tell you what, they're going to be circled no matter where we're at. I don't care if it's Buffalo, if it's Pittsburgh. I don't care what the wagon looks like. If it looks like a phallic object or if it looks like a wagon, it's being circled when it's in Buffalo. So yeah, come on now. It's the Buffalo Bills. I mean, GM's for Buffalo. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Trevor Lawrence makes his NFL debut against the dumpster fire that is the Houston Texans. RJ, take us through that.
Come on. With 2 words. Touchdown, Jesus. This guy's the real deal. He's going to show everybody why Jacksonville going 1-15 is actually the best thing that's happened to that franchise. They have their guy for the next 15 years. It starts Sunday. This guy is elite. He's going to be great. And he doesn't have to outscore Deshaun Watson on the other side. He's just got to score 20 because Tyrod Taylor's not scoring 20 points.
Is on the field. I'll take this one. It's the Arizona Cardinals and Tennessee Titans. All 4 of us agreeing with the Tennessee Titans. There's not much to say, but I do think it'll be a close one for sure. This is a Julio Jones Tennessee debut. Having D-Hop on the other side for the Cardinals is obviously interesting. 2 of the top wide receivers in football. I do think it'll be a little high scoring, honestly. Both defenses are solid, but I do think both teams will be able to take advantage and kind of rack up some points. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think it'll be one of the more exciting games of the week. And all of us are going with Tennessee. Mini versus Cincy. Yeah. The Vikings and the Bengals. Jamil, let's go with you for this one.
Actually, this is going to be a really close game too. Maybe not because of high scoring, but because both teams are kind of evenly matched. But I think it's going to be way too much Dalvin Cook for the Bengals to stop. I think the Bengals will be able to put up points because the Vikings secondary is pretty suspect. But I think at the end of the day, Daniel Hunters and the defensive line is going to get too much pressure on Burrow and it's going to be too much Dalvin Cook, and the Vikings will cook to a win.
I should probably mention that we are all agreeing on the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't mention that. I should have. Will, the 49ers and the other dumpster fire that's the Detroit Lions.
Your favorite quarterback.
Hey, welcome to Detroit, baby. One hell of a homecoming. Get to face Nick Bosa with that. Have fun. I mean, his offensive line's great, but outside of that, I mean, the guy doesn't have a stud wide receiver, and he's still Jared Goff. So that's great. Well, I mean, not for him, but for the 49ers' sake. The 49ers are healthy, at least for the most part. You're going to see them at pretty much full strength, which is something we didn't get to see last year. That defensive unit is still going to be amazing. And I think the 49ers, as well as every other team in the NFC West, has a chance to at least fight for a wild card spot. And obviously Detroit's a dumpster fire. So it should be a layup.
Yeah. All 4 of us going with San Fran there. RJ, in division matchup, we got the Dolphins and the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm pretty. We all picked the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even remember who I picked. I'm actually really surprised that we all agree because I think New England can absolutely win that game.
Mhm.
But I don't trust, but I believe in Tua this year. He has faced a lot of criticism. He didn't come in and just light it up like everybody wanted him to last year as a rookie, coming off of injury with no training camp. But I think this year, Tua's going to show everybody, hey, I'm that guy from Alabama that was really, really good. And I think, yeah, he's going up against Bill Belichick. Belichick is always he owns young quarterbacks, but I think this year Tua is going to prove a lot of people wrong. And I think it has to start this week because if you can't beat the Patriots with a rookie quarterback making his first career start, then what is this Dolphins rebuild? What is it? I mean, do they go all in on Deshaun Watson if they can't pull it? It's all on Tua. Like they did this rebuild, got all these draft picks. If you can't win games like this, you got to reevaluate your rebuild and go get the guy that can win these games. So I think Tua can be that guy. He's got to do it Sunday, though.
I feel like Mac Jones and the Pats have a chance, but like who's Mac Jones throwing to? The Patriots still really don't have a receiving.
Kobe Myers, baby. Nelson Aguilar.
But does that compare to Devontae Parker and the Dolphins though? Really? I mean, I just don't think it's a fair comparison.
No, absolutely. Tua's got weapons. I mean, he's got Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and Jalen Waddle, and Mike.
The Patriots are going to be a run first team. They're going to be a run first team.
Yeah, and none of their running backs really speak to me. I mean,
Ramondre Stevenson, remember the name? Their backup running back. He's going to be very, very good.
I want to be. Wow, me.
It's can Mac Jones step up? It's like, can Mac Jones step up or can Tua not suck? It's literally just a flip of the coin. It's which Alabama quarterback's going to suck less. And is it Mac Jones who's going to have to pull the workload, or is it Tua who just needs to do enough to get it done? And it's even going to be even easier now with Stephon Gilmore out. So, I mean, after past JC Jackson, who's going to be covering these wide receivers? I think Waddle will have a field day. I think you'll see Waddle having a pretty good game week one.
Yeah, the Dolphins defense was ridiculous at the end of their last year, so let's not sleep on them. They can give Mac Jones some fits. They're deep at corner. They're really good. They're going to have a good pass rush. So I think this defense, and this is a Belichick disciple going up against Belichick. I know that's the other thing we haven't talked about. Flores versus Belichick. We'll see if one of his guys can finally one up him. At his own game. He's facing a rookie quarterback. Can he be the defensive mastermind to stop him?
Also key to mention, no Stephon Gilmore for the Patriots. So Tua has almost every opportunity to throw all over that defense. I personally think the Dolphins are better prepared for this season than the Pats, but you guys might think different down the road, but at least for this week, we all agree. So Dolphins over the Pats. Typically I'd go to Jamil based on the order we're going, but it is Bears Rams. And I want to hear Will talk about why we all selected the Rams.
It's the Rams. It's
pretty good.
It's the best defense in the league versus one of the most incompetent offenses in the league. And then not only that, we made it better by putting in the Red Rocket. Granted, do I think putting in Fields is a great idea? No, I don't think throwing him out there to the Wolves against the best defense in the NFL is necessarily the best idea. Now, does that mean I don't want to see him week 2? No. Put him in against the Bengals. Screw it. Just see what happens. I forgot who it was, but somebody said, nobody has ever said, I want to see more Andy Dalton. Nobody has ever said that in their life and meant it. So get him the hell up out of here. We didn't spend pick number 11. We didn't trade up from pick 20 to number 11 to watch Andy Dalton play all season. Give it to him week 1, watch him get eaten alive, and then put in Justin Fields and go to work.
Hey, like Dalton said, Fields is cool, but this is his time. This is Dalton's time. He's gonna
make me sick.
Oh yeah. I expect to be disappointed by Andy Dalton's performance, as do most football fans, I'm sure. Jamil, you want to take us home? We got a little Ravens Raiders.
Little R&R action. The team that has the bird is going to destroy the team that plays whatever in the black.
The one who doesn't have
I appreciate the effort.
The Ravens should have their way with the Raiders in this game. A lot of Lamar Jackson running around doing his thing. Gus Edwards going to run do his thing. Tyson Williams going to run out do his thing. This team's going to be able to run at will, I think, and I don't think the Raiders are going to be in this game.
Over under 100 receiving yards for Waller.
Over.
I'm gonna go over. I think Waller's a very dynamic player, and they're gonna get him the ball, and they have to get him the ball if they want to have any chance of winning. I want to see what Henry Ruggs can do this season.
I want to see what Brian Edwards is going to do.
I actually like their receiving group if they can stay healthy. Last season, for rookies, they couldn't stay healthy. Plus, it was a COVID season, not a lot of training camp. So we'll see in year 2 if that receiving group of Waller, Edwards, and Ruggs can get on the right track this season. It's a lot of speed. Edwards is a big guy. They can throw the ball up. Waller fast and big. So they have potential to be good. It's just, can Carr get in the ball in space, and can they stay healthy?
Derek Carr is going to be looking more like David Carr because he lost like 3 of his offensive line. He's just going to be laying on his back all season. But we'll see exactly how that happens.
RJ, over or under 2.5 passing touchdowns for Derek Carr?
Probably over. I actually think the Raiders are going to be in this game.
Cool.
I think the Ravens are obviously the better team. But look, no J.K. Dobbins, no Rashad Bateman. I don't like Lamar's weapons still. It's better than last year, but not by much. They will be good at the end of the year. I think the Ravens are going to start pretty slow, honestly. And I think going on the road, Monday Night Football, playing the Raiders, look, I think it'll probably come down to like a Justin Tucker field goal in the fourth quarter. Like, I think the Raiders are going to be in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It should probably be a blowout. The Ravens are obviously the better team, but something just tells me the Raiders are going to keep it close and lose a heartbreaker. I can't see them getting blown out of the water week 1. Save that for like week 12 when there's questions about Gruden's job security or something. That's when they get blown out. Week 1 on national television, they ain't gonna get blown out.
You mean to tell me that 10-year, $100 million contract is not secure? What?
They can't fire him.
He can't go 8-8 this year. He has to at least go 8-9.
That's true.
One more before we go. Will, over or under 100 rushing yards for Lamar Jackson?
Smack the over. Why not? Especially with J.K. Dobbins not being there. I feel like Lamar's known to get that one fat run that's going to get like 70 yards, 80 yards. Look for him to break one off, and especially with teams being rusty and everything like that, defenses aren't going to be playing up to the level they should be in most case scenarios. And the Raiders, even if it isn't exactly the best defensive unit in the first place. So I could totally see him breaking off for like a 50, 60-yard run in one of these and easily knocking away more than half of that chunk of change right there in one carry. I'd be willing to put the over on that.
It is key to mention that the Ravens did sign Le'Veon Bell, although I don't think he'll be ready for week 1, right? You wouldn't think so?
I wouldn't imagine.
No. So
if Lamar, he is, he's not going to get a lot of carries.
So looks like Lamar's going to be their top quarterback and running back week 1. So that'll be interesting.
Shocker.
But that's been our week 1 pick'em. Catch us next week. We'll see how this past week went, and we'll obviously make our picks for next week. But for Will, Jamil, and RJ, I've been Matthew Perry. This has been GMs for Hire. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.